All right, let's compare. Hi, folks. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the D-Bell Sports Podcast. I'm your host, David Bell. Today we're going to go through all the divisions of the NFC East to see how they improved, how they got better, what happened in the offseason. They had some players, they drafted some people, they let some people go. Let's get into it. Now, first, the Washington Commanders. They did well last year. They acquired Jaden Daniels, and Jaden Daniels balled out, getting all the way to the NFC Championship game against the Eagles. Going up against another division rival. That was fun. Two teams that we have to watch out for now, though. The Eagles and the Commanders. So, that's always great. What happened after, though? What happened after? Draft and free agency are over. They kept Bobby Wagner, right tackle Andrew Wiley. They kept Zach Ertz, who was with the Eagles. And they kept Noah Brown, who we had him for a while. They acquired Deebo Samuel, so we'll see how good he is. Lost Jonathan Allen, De'Ami Brown, Zacchaeus. Drafted Josh Connerly, Trey Amos. So yeah, let's look into it. They still have Dan Quinn, of course, second year as head coach. They did very well. Players like Zach Ertz. Yeah, Zach Ertz had a 1-year contract. He's been extended. Kind of like the Texans a couple years ago. You know, they had some players. They new quarterback and everything, and they just had a bunch of players on a 1-year deal. So yeah. But speaking of Texans, they got left tackle Jeremy Tunzel, Pro Bowler, from the Texans. So yeah, that's interesting. Let's see how that works out. They definitely are trying to improve their O-line. They didn't have too many picks in 2025. Let's see. How many picks did they have? Yeah, I already know. They had 5. But that in free agency, they improved their O-line and defense, which was already pretty good. O-line, they had Tunzel and they drafted Connerly. So their rebuild is definitely ahead of schedule. Now they'll be trying to get back to the NFC Championship game, which is not an easy task, since you can say they quote-unquote overperformed and go all the way there. So it's going to be a lot harder this time. But at any rate, they are a team the Cowboys should fear. Unfortunately, now we have to look out for the Eagles, who just won a Super Bowl, and the Commanders. Trey Lance and Cooper Rush played against the Commanders last year. Dak did not, so that's still a question mark of how Dak will do against the Commanders. It's not a guarantee that we'll win, of course. We split with them. It was a crazy first game, but it was Trey Lance versus Marcus Mariota really in the second game. Yeah. Even though Jaden Daniels started it, but Marcus Mariota, he got the game-winning touchdown, all that stuff. That was crazy. Overall, they improved, but they're going to try to protect Jaden Daniels more. They gave him some veteran weapons, so yeah, they very much improved. So we'll have to see. A bunch of question marks. Of course, Dak was out, so it'll be exciting to see him actually play against Jaden Daniels. Eagles already improved from the season before. They won a Super Bowl, after losing that playoff game and going to the Super Bowl the year before. So yeah, they bounced back. They won Super Bowl against the previous 2-time Super Bowl champions, so that's not an easy feat. Their goal was to retain their talent from the previous year, so they can go back. That is their only goal now. They have a Super Bowl window, so they're trying to get back. They kept and paid Saquon Barkley, Lane Johnson, and Zach Bond, who was a very valuable asset. Good job to them, I guess. Shout out, they got a good player. They lost Josh Sweat, Darius Slay, who was with them for 5 seasons, played in 2 Super Bowls, and won 1. So, at least you can say that. Oh, they also lost Brandon Graham, Kenneth Gainwell, who I'm sure they will miss terribly. But they drafted linebacker Jahad Campbell and safety Andrew Makuba from Texas. So unfortunately, he did not go to a fellow Texas team. He has to travel to the darkness, the cold of Philadelphia. Oh boy. We could have used him, but that's okay. So they went defense in their first 3 picks. They got Kyle McCord, quarterback out of Syracuse, in the 6th round to be their backup. Of course, Saquon Barkley was retained. Zach Bond retained. Right tackle and Johnson retained. They're trying really hard to keep their team together and keep their Super Bowl window alive. Now, Saquon was the NFL Offensive Player of the Year last season. He had 2,005 yards in 16 games, 13 rushing touchdowns, and 2 receiving touchdowns. Only the second time in the playoffs, he ran for 499 yards and 5 touchdowns. You could argue he's more valuable than Jalen Hurts. You know, Hurts is the quarterback. He has a nice, big, shiny ring with his name on it now. So, you know, that's nice for him. But they extended Saquon $41.2 million over 2 years. First running back to get over $20 million dollars a year. So they are the Cowboys' biggest threat right now. Second is Washington. You know, Jaden Daniels wasn't that great against us. First time he threw 2 picks. So since the Eagles actually became Super Bowl champions, I would say they're our biggest threat. The Cowboys. Cowboys are very much improved. They signed CD and Dak. They need to sign Micah. They retained Turpin, Goodwin, Sieg, Bell, Digawuza. They got Javonte Williams, which is good. Unfortunately, they lost Rico Dowdle. They got back Dante Fowler. They got Peyton Turner. They lost, Rico Dowdle, who was a great undrafted guy. He got 1,000 yards, which was great. We lost D-Law. We lost Brendan Cooks. We lost Jordan Lewis, unfortunately. Well, we drafted Tyler Booker to improve our O-line, which is now younger. Drafted an edge, corner, and Jaden Blue. Go Texas. We also just got George Pickens to replace Brandon Cook. So if he can stay healthy, that'll be great. Great for the wide receiver 2 spot, since Brandon Cooks was hurt and didn't play in several games for us last year. Cooper Rush, he did okay. He was working with backups. Cooper Rush, we lost him too. We lost Trey Lance. We lost our quarterbacks. But Cooper Rush was working with backups at times. You know, Jalen Tolbert and Kevontae Turpin were trying to fill in with Brandon Cooks out. And I saw them trying to do that. I saw, Kevontae Turpin, he had that great touchdown, the punt or the kick, the kickoff or whatever, and then the ball drops, he picks it up. He hit the ground, he picks it up, he spins around, and he goes in for a touchdown. That's what we need him for. That's special teams and everything. And I saw Jalen Tolbert trying to step up as a wide receiver too. At times he did. At times he didn't get that many stats. So, you never know. But they're trying. But, definitely need a wide receiver too. Which, if George Pickens, is good, if he stays healthy, then I'll be good. Health is definitely the key. But we definitely improved. We were more active in free agency. And, the goal is always the same. The goal is always the same, to win that second playoff game. I don't care if it's wild card or division. We can't win that second playoff game. We're losing in the wild card, too. The last victory the team had, was 22-23 against the Bucks, a bad Bucks team. And then 23 playoffs, we lost against the Packers, and then no playoffs this time. We lost against the Packers in spectacular fashion, too. Cowboys have been known to blow huge games in the spotlight, and it's just terrible. It's just terrible. We need to stop doing that. Now the draft, got a lot of high grades in the draft. One question mark is the corner, who had an ACL tear, so we'll see what happens. We did have some low grades for the offseason. Some people thought we didn't do enough, but we got George Pickens. Our O-line improved. Now they just have to compete against the Eagles and Commanders, unfortunately. Giants. Giants kept their punter, the guard, Greg Van Roten, quarterback, Tommy DeVito. They got Russell Wilson, James Winston, for some reason. They stole Chauncey Golston, too, from us, unfortunately. And they lost some defensive players. They drafted Abdul Carter, Jackson Dart, defensive tackle Jarius Alexander, running back Cam Scatterbo. So some good picks. But they won 11 games without getting an interception, which is why they paid Paulson Adebo. They got him from the Saints $54 million over 3 years. Last year he had 3 interceptions, and he had 4 the year before. They also got safety Javon Holland from the Dolphins. He had no interceptions last year and 1 the year before. He's a safety, so that's he has to stay further back and all that. So That's fine. But he had 62 combined tackles last year, which is good. Really, really good. They got a good new edge rusher, a new quarterback, a running back. They just have too many quarterbacks. I don't know what they're doing. They have to trade somebody. Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. And now they drafted Jackson Dart. So, I don't know. Just start Dart, Dart's a great name for a quarterback, first of all. Second of all, see what you have in him. Third of all, Jameis Winston throws too many interceptions, and Russell Wilson's pretty much washed at this point. So, I don't get it. Just start Jackson Dart, and you have some good quarterbacks to come in if anything happens to him. I just go Jackson Dart. You don't like him? Get someone else next year, I guess. If you really fall, if you really don't do well next year, even when you drafted a new quarterback, I don't know. It's still last place in the division in my mind. I don't see them as much of a threat, but they'll be better. They still have Malik Neighbors too. Malik Neighbors had 1,204 yards last year, starting 14 games, playing in 15. So not bad. But 3 different quarterbacks started games last year, so. And 2 of them are gone. Daniel Jones and Drew Lock, so, maybe more consistency. Maybe starting only one quarterback, guys, will help out Malik Neighbors. And we'll see what happens. So, overall grades, I'm no expert, but, I say the Commanders improved the most. The Cowboys improved a lot. Given from last year, and if they stay healthy and everything. Eagles improved. Giants improved. In that order, so, who knows, actually. Eagles retained the Super Bowl roster. The Giants got a new quarterback and edge rusher. Cowboys improved in their O-line and running back situation. The Commanders got new veteran receivers and improved their O-line, which will help out Jaden Daniels immensely, They also got a wide receiver in the fourth, so maybe he'll work out. And the Commanders still have Terry McLaurin. He just got his 6th 1,000-yard season. And he had the most touchdowns ever in 13. And he caught 3 touchdowns in the playoffs, so he's still good. The Eagles, I'd say, are the biggest threat because they won the Super Bowl. Man, Saquon Barkley ran all over everybody. And then the Commanders and then the Giants. But it's going to be close. Commanders, Giants. Giants are a big question mark. So we'll see what happens there. But we can't guarantee, a couple years ago, can't guarantee, the Commanders as a victory. Dak hasn't played Jaden Daniels yet. I think he was interviewed a few months ago. He's like, yeah, I'm not scared to take on the Eagles. We can do it. That's great. Love the confidence. But now you have to take on a Jalen Hurts with a brand new Super Bowl ring. Jaden Daniels, who has something to prove, wants to get back to the NFC championship game. And the Giants want to get better because Brian Daboll wants to save his job. And they have a brand new quarterback who's a big question mark. So, who knows? Who knows what will happen? That's what I have. We're definitely going to have some problems with the NFC East. Our schedule is just released, so I'll do a video about how many games we're going to win. What that'll look like. Our record. I'll do a video on that. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Thank you to my new subscribers I got this past week. Thank you my Patreon members. And let me know in the comments below what you think. Of course, go Cowboys.